We do not intend by our claims regarding Scripture's sufficiency to make a statement that man does not require new or extra biblical information to glorify and obey God. That is not our claim. To give another example, if my wife is going to fulfill her biblical duty to love her husband, see Titus 2:4, she needs to be able to locate the jar of peanut butter on the pantry shelf so that she can make me a sandwich. The Bible is not sufficient to tell her which shelf the peanut butter jar is on. She needs to use her senses to locate the peanut butter, especially if the aforementioned toddler that we have in the house has moved it, and she needs to use prudence to ascertain if the peanut butter is spoiled. She needs to use these things in order to fulfill her biblical duty. The location and the condition of the peanut butter are new pieces or extra biblical pieces of information. They are not contained in Scripture. Now, concerning that which is necessary and thus sufficient for civil justice, non-legislative theonomists assert that the Bible provides us with the structure and the legislation we need for justice. This position is based on the belief that Scripture is sufficient in giving us the laws and framework necessary for the proper functioning of civil government. We affirm legislation is needed, but contend that God's inscripturated legislation in the Bible is sufficient legislation. However, this does not mean that the Bible is sufficient for providing all the information needed to render a verdict in specific cases. The Bible does not contain all the specific details of every situation, and it is the responsibility of the civil magistrate and others to use wisdom to investigate the facts of a case to determine guilt or innocence. Just as the Bible does not tell my wife where the peanut butter is, neither does the Bible tell the judge if John murdered Jane. The magistrate uses wisdom, prudence, and diligence to search out the extra biblical truth concerning how Jane ended up with a knife in her throat. While non-legislative theonomists affirm the sufficiency of Scripture in providing the necessary laws and framework for justice, we also recognize that people need to obtain new information, as it were, such as the facts of a case, to render a just verdict. Proverbs 18:17 reminds us the one who states his case first seems right until the other comes and examines him. This verse highlights the importance of examining all the evidence and hearing both sides of a dispute before making a judgment. Thus, the Bible itself affirms the need for obtaining new information. This, however, is not an argument against the non-legislative theonomist, as we are not arguing against the need for new information. Rather, we are arguing that the Bible gives us the necessary laws and the sufficient structure to establish justice. To use the new information argument against non-legislative theonomists would be to commit the straw man fallacy. We simply do not argue that the Bible provides all the information needed to establish justice. We argue it provides all the laws needed to establish justice.